Welcome back to the Run Strong podcast, episode 3.
I'm back.
Rob is back in the house. Here he is. Look, take a look if you're watching on the video.
It's better for you so you don't have to talk on your own now. You actually have something to bunch stuff off.
Mate, it's really hard doing a solo podcast.
45 minutes is a long time just to talk to a screen.
Just talking at a screen, and I was like, surely people are sick of this now. I haven't been told anything too bad yet, so hopefully it wasn't that bad of a show.
I have, that's why I came back.
You fed back feedback nicely. If you haven't listened to that show, it is called Run Strong 002 Record Breaking Weekends, and it's all about the weekend of the dates, the 12th and 13th of October.
Exactly.
And it's on the Inner Fight podcast show as number 569.
Mm-hmm.
So this is coming out as episode 571. But before that, last week, me and Marcus recorded a show all about Kona Triathlon.
Very interesting.
Yeah?
Very interesting.
You've done an Ironman, haven't you?
I've just done one, yeah.
Just one.
Just one. I haven't got the bug so far. That's because I don't want to spend money on the triathlon bike.
Yeah, it's not a cheap sport, is it?
Not cheap at all.
Robert, you're back from Ultra X Jordan.
Yes, got back yesterday lunchtime actually, so I spent all yesterday on the sofa. I didn't come into work.
Very nice.
But I feel refreshed and back to it. I did a little bit of a workout this morning, but nothing below the hips. It was all all upper body and core work, so that was nice. It's good to get back to doing some movement again.
Yeah, I bet it was. So obviously you weren't here for the last show, but you missed, I very quickly chatted about the 159 Ineos Challenge, which we're going to go into a little bit more detail today.
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit. I chatted a little bit about Kona. Obviously, if you want to know more about that, recorded a show on the Inner Fight podcast, episode 570, which you can go and grab now. We go into complete geek Kona depth there. And then I chatted a little bit about Ultra X, but obviously today you will tell me more about that.
Yeah.
And then I answered 2 questions, which were good questions. One on having a high heart rate, and one on types of interval training, which was quite interesting to answer. So go back a show, go and listen to those if you haven't already. This week is our topic show.
Topics.
So the way this podcast works is we discuss a topic every odd number show, and then every even number show is answering questions, either just general questions from the public or hopefully more questions based on the topic that we discuss. We want to get people's minds engaged in our podcast. We want to spark some creativity with questions, the more interactive we can be, the better, I think is what we agreed before we started this podcast. That's the way you're going to help the most people, isn't it?
That's the plan. And so if you do have any questions or you want anything answered, anything you've ever questioned yourself but either don't trust from Google or you just want our opinion on it or thoughts on it, email endurance@innerfight.com or tw@innerfight.com
Stitching me up there.
rj@innerfight.com. And yeah, we can talk about that in the next show.
Yeah, we certainly will.
Awesome.
So let's get into this week's show, mate. I'm giving you the reins a little bit because I feel like you've been out of the world for like 5 days.
I have. The phone was off.
Yeah, I mean that in itself must be one of the great reasons to do a 5-day stage race.
It's
Is Heidi and Hannah listening? I don't know, but
do you know what? Lots of people in the camp are talking about this. I don't think I've ever turned off my phone for that length of time since I had one when I was 17. I don't think I've been away from a phone for
Nokia
that long.
3210.
Nokia 3310.
Oh,
I started. Yeah, I upgraded. I didn't like the aerial. So yeah, that was in itself that was almost liberating. But obviously I missed Heidi and Hannah. Luckily we had Marcus. He was there with us, but he was acting as media team for Ultra X. So all of the Instagram content that went out was filmed by him on site, and then he would get driven by the Bedouins in their cars to sometimes 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours back to find internet, upload all the content, to bring you the pictures that you saw at home.
Mate, it was amazing content. I mean, obviously you didn't see it; you saw it in real life. We were seeing it through our phone screens, but it's the best cover of a race I've ever watched.
It was. Do you know what? He spent some time running with me and sort of running past me with some of the leaders and things. And we saw him fly past in cars a few times, hanging on the side of a car, going at 40 km an hour with his GoPro stick fully extended. He just got into every aspect. He got in your face. And along with him and then the other filmmakers that were there, they put some really good stuff out, and there's going to be really good, almost like a little documentary I think they're putting together from that race.
They do good as well. They do good documentaries.
It's amazing.
They know what they're doing. It's quite funny. I won't call him out, but one of our members, he's big and he's called John. Can't wear that out who it is then. Yeah. Said, all right, I'm off to work. Spend the first half an hour of my day catching up on what the boys have been up to in Jordan.
Really? He'll be signed up soon enough.
Because people were just going and getting onto the Ultra X Instagram account and just watching everything that was coming in.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of people spend time on YouTube and things. It was like Ultra X account was the new YouTube last week.
Yeah. Do you know what? As a race, it was almost like a five-star multi-day, if you like. It was the guys are brilliant, and even to the point where they had a base camp for the first 2 nights, not the middle night, but then the last 2 nights they had a big truck with water. I don't know, what would you call it? A water container on the back, and the Bedouin guys would just let you go behind, turn it on, and just wash after your run.
Nice.
So you're getting a bit of a shower. I'm not sure where the water came from or anything like that, but at least you could dice yourself off. So that was nice to cool off as well. The race itself was it's a whirlwind, absolute whirlwind. We started off with 45k or so the first day. The second day they upped that to 50k. The third day was 67, but they messed up a little bit and it turned to 71.
Yeah,
which we can talk about. And then it decreased slightly. The last day being 36.5 kilometers. Full gas.
Yeah, and let's start, mate, talking about your race first. I mean, you actually come back. I've seen you, I've been away with you guys on camps and seen you boys come back from ultra camps, and sometimes, you're looking a little bit wrecked.
Yes.
This time, you're looking fresh. I mean, out of the two of us, I think I'm the one looking awful, and you're looking
do you know what?
fresh as. You got a bad toe, that's it.
I've one bad toe. The muscles feel fine. I can bend everything. I can go up and down stairs. I don't feel like there's anything. I feel like I could run right now, to be honest. I'm not going to.
No.
But I don't know whether that was just because you split the distance up over the days, and then you have you start really early in the morning, right? So you're starting running sometimes at 3 a.m., sometimes at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
You're finishing 4 or 5 hours, maybe for the short days. The long day, I think, was 9 for me. 9:01 it was.
You're right.
So you're still finishing really early into the afternoon, and all you've got to do is sit, relax, recover, eat. Recover, see an osteo.
You're probably sleeping more because you haven't got a baby at home to keep you up.
We were going to bed. Honestly, you go to bed whenever it gets dark, don't you? Because there's nothing else to do other than sit and chat, and everyone's fully chatted out since they've been there all afternoon. So
you hope so. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You have your dinner at 4:30, 5:30, maybe eat a bit more food, but then most people are going to bed by 7 o'clock, and then getting up again at maybe 4 o'clock if it was the early day, or 6 o'clock on a normal day. So you're getting almost 12 hours sleep, which is obviously huge for recovery.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So let's go day one. You finish. What place were you in after day one? Was it 5th?
Day one I was 5th, yeah. So I took a slight detour 10 kilometers in.
Got lost, huh?
Got lost, yep.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I was too busy looking at the views and the scenery. Didn't follow the flags. Classic error. Lots of us are running the wrong way, and we just there's nobody behind us, which is all right, but it's a bit weird. Like nobody. So we stopped. Me and this guy Robs. We stopped and we looked behind us, and we could see just figures running across this ridge in the distance, going completely a different direction. So here we go. Tried to shout the guys that were ahead of us, because there was another maybe 3 or 4 guys that had gone on the same direction, but they just couldn't hear us, so we left them, turned and ran the right direction.
Wow.
So I had a good bit of making up to do on day one. I think that knocked me back by about 6 or 7 places.
Oh, okay.
I did what everyone should not do, but I pushed really hard on the first day. Got myself into 4th on the first day.
Okay.
Oh, no, sorry, 5th. It was 5th.
5th,
Got myself back into 5th on the first day.
Wow. So you actually, so you've pulled out a hell of a comeback.
Hell of a comeback. And I thought maybe that was my unraveling. But like I said, with the recovery time, I ate loads of food. I saw an osteo. Got them to work on my hips, my legs, my glutes, my calves, my Achilles, everything.
Yeah.
And I felt really fresh going into day 2.
Awesome. So day 2 was, how far was
day
it?
Day 2 was 50 kilometers.
Okay.
It was, yeah. Day 2, again, a really good start. I got myself into a good position. The only thing I did wrong on day 2 was I didn't drink enough. Slightly longer day. I allowed for about 1.5 litres per 10 kilometres, which wasn't quite enough as the sun came up. The way it was in Jordan, like, it was beautiful to run in the morning, but as soon as that sun came up and it hit sort of 10 o'clock, the temperature just went through the roof with very little warning, and we hadn't really allowed for that. So running more into that time, I just dehydrated a lot quicker and didn't have the capacity to have the amount of fluid that I needed.
And you're planning your hydration based off distance or time?
I was basing it on distance.
Right, because I always think this isn't a good idea.
I know.
I'd always tell my guys to base it off time because you never quite know what's going to happen in terms of distance markers.
Yeah.
Have you always done it that way, or was this because of the checkpoints and the fact you had to carry your own water?
It's because of the checkpoints mainly. The checkpoints, they'd tried to plan out every 10 kilometres. I didn't really want to run too heavy because it's quite quick racing, and it's, the more you carry, the slower you are. So I figured 1.5 litres should be enough for 10k. Worst case, if it's really soft sand or really hilly, that's going to take me 2.5, maybe even 3 hours. So I figured 500 ml for an hour is pushing it. But if I just smashed the bottle before I left the checkpoint and then had 3, that should be enough. Ultimately, it wasn't for that day.
Lesson learnt, though, and
lesson learned. Yeah,
which is good.
I built up enough of a gap, if I like, in the early stage of the race that I didn't really get overtaken by many people in the latter half. I ended up walking a lot of the last 3k, 4k of that race.
Okay.
But still ended up to hold quite a good position. I think, again, that day I came in 4th.
Yeah.
Yep. And then...
it's a long day.
The long day. It's a long day. Changed the strategy slightly, so I took more water carrying capacity. 2 litres this time.
Okay.
I took a lot more food.
Yeah.
So the 67 kilometres, really, really good day. Like, it was fantastic. I ran non-stop the first 64k.
Oh, man, that's good.
Yeah, but what they do is interesting on the long day. They start the leaders, so the top 3 started an hour behind everybody.
Ah, yeah, they did this in Sri Lanka, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah. So me and a couple of other guys, the guy that was in 5th, there was a girl that was behind us. We were all sort of out to the front. We dropped the girl, Jordan, and it was just me and this guy, Rob, running head-to-head at the front. And nobody passed us. We couldn't see another soul apart from the checkpoints for the first 60k.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long did that take?
Oh, it's a good question. Maybe sort of 7 hours, something like that. At that stage, a guy, Chris, that had a bad day too, with a bit of, let's say, bowel movements, some diarrhea.
Okay.
He caught up to us. He put in a hard shift. But because he put in such a hard shift, by the time he got to us, he was spent and he just died off again.
Paid for it.
Yeah. Actually, I had a bit of diarrhea on day 3 for the first 10k.
Glad you shared. Thank you.
I did, yeah. So I had an Imodium, and that sealed everything up.
Because that, even though you might have got rid of, the diarrhea symptoms, it still affects you because you lose so much water when you have that. So you need to start thinking about rehydrating and getting in a little bit more electrolytes to retain the fluid that you're taking on. Was that on your mind?
It was, and do you know what? The main thing on my mind was I just didn't want to lose too many places falling back so far on such a long stage, just because it was so tight at the top. There was only a few minutes between me and the guy Rob, who was in 5th place, and so we're quite similarly matched. He was a lot faster on the flats. So, and the flat stuff he'd accelerate away. When it got a bit more technical, a bit more deeper sand, or more uphill and descending, I would catch up there.
Well, you got the stabilizers with the elbows.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with my elbows.
Nothing wrong, mate. So that was the long day, and actually you thought it was going to be 67 Ks.
Yeah.
And they tricked you and
stuck
us in an extra 5.
I know, that's horrible. So this guy Rob had been ahead of me pretty much all day, but I could see him, and I put in a really good shift to overtake him on the final climb of the day. Problem was, the final climb of the day was actually a much longer final climb than we'd envisaged, and so I just burnt myself out, ended up walking the last k.5. He overtook me, caught up a bit more time, which made it very interesting going into the 4th day.
Tell us, day 4.
Day 4, I had a 7-minute lead on Rob. The leading guys were quite a bit ahead actually, but I'm putting that down to their weight. We had yeah, I think I weighed combined weight of all three of them. Anyway, that's another story. So yeah, day four is stunning. It was through lots of canyons, deep gorges, sort of sheer cliffs either side of where you're running, loads of deep sand. It was
real Indiana Jones type.
Real Indiana Jones. You're walking.
So
I swear some of it's from that film, but you know, it's just beautiful, beautiful scenery. I haven't actually. I've still got to make my video, but I'll put the video together, and you'll see some of that route, and it's just mind blowing. Even if you haven't seen it, hop over to the Ultra X Instagram page, and you can see some of the footage they've put out, and it's just you can't even. Some of it just doesn't look real.
Yeah,
doesn't look real.
No,
Like,
it looked
the postcard stuff. It's just you were there running in it. Anyway, so again, my plan for this, I knew I didn't have much. A 4-minute lead on this guy Rob. So I didn't want. 4 minutes can be made up very, very, very quickly, and I knew he was fast on the flat. Of course, we start off, it's nice and flat. He accelerates off into the distance. There's no way I can catch up with him without just ruining myself, and I'd be done for the day.
Yeah.
So I just waited and waited and waited. I ran for my plan for that day from 0 to 10k. I ran to 140 heart rate.
okay. So you're still trusting heart rate at this point?
I went for heart rate because I thought it's still a long day. I don't want to burn out. I know my body, and I know myself. I'd like to ruin myself to try and sit on the back of him, but that would not work. So as 140 heart rate for the first 10k. 10k to 20k, I upped that to about 145, nearing up 150, so a little bit higher. And then from 30 to 40, I ended up catching up with him, and I just sat on the back of him.
Yeah.
Sat on the back. Ended up having a little conversation with him, trying to sort of play with his mind a little bit, and then sat behind him again.
Love it.
Loved it. Oh, it was so much fun. And then we got to the final checkpoint, and we got told there was 8 kilometers to go, less than 10. And in my head, I thought, right, that's when I'm going to make my move. So I'd smashed the gel just before that checkpoint, and then at the checkpoint, he got in and out just before me. I smashed another caffeine gel as well in the checkpoint,
Secret
ready
training.
to go.
Shout out Secret Training.
No, it wasn't. It was one that somebody gave me, actually. It was an SIS.
Oh, wow. Breaking all the rules.
Blackcurrant.
So
yeah, no, I didn't. We'd run out at this stage. And so he left the checkpoint. I was following. I just put the hammer down. I think I was running 4:15 a K. It was across a nice, compact, flat plain with hills in the distance. And everyone was heading up towards the hill.
Yeah.
We could see the guy in second and third at the far end of this plain. So I smashed past him. Said hello as I ran past, as you do, just again to play with his mind.
Yeah.
And there was no way he catch up. I think actually Marcus had that on Instagram as he was hanging on the side of a truck just as I run past the guy. So my plan was there to try and increase my lead from 4 minutes to maybe 10.
Yeah.
Ran out of time. They'd made the course slightly short that day. So
screwing you over.
Good thing I managed to make up about 3 minutes and about a K and a half on this guy.
Wow.
Which is good.
Yeah, very good.
I nearly caught up with the guy in third as well, so I was really happy with that. Finished fourth again.
Yeah, consistent. So last day, they released the standings for the last day. I was 1 hour and 8 minutes behind the guy in third place. Wow.
Rahel.
Okay.
This guy, put it in context, he's got a 2:20 marathon.
All right. So
he's a student. He's young. He's
students.
got no job. He trains 7 days a week, apparently.
Students.
Yeah, students. So I knew it was a very tall order to catch him, but I thought I'd have a good crack. And Rob behind me was 7 minutes now behind.
Right.
So I got a bit of an extension on this lead.
Yeah.
And the last day just went really well again. I had a race plan in mind. Rob shot off again with everybody. The last day is just carnage. Everyone sets off, 3, 2, 1, go. Full speed.
Yeah.
Still 40k to go. I don't know why. It's like you wouldn't sprint start a marathon, would you? Across soft
Some
sand.
people do, mate, unfortunately.
So yeah, same again. I just had a race plan in mind. I kept to a heart rate to start with, and then just got a little bit faster. Got to the back of this guy, Rob, again, but made my move a bit quicker again with a bit more time. And yeah, put a good chunk of time into him this time. And again, this time, the guy in second had burnt himself out so much from chasing down the guy in first. He was nowhere to be seen. So he was way back in the field. So in my head, I was thinking, oh, I wonder if I could put any time into him. Alas, not enough. I think he had a 2-hour lead over me to start with, so there's no way I was making up that. Finished the day in 3:45. It was, which was pretty quick across that sand.
Yeah,
but it was just
it is,
full
mate.
smash fest, and yeah, finished the whole week in 4th, which is
It's amazing, mate. It's a very good result. Like you say, it's
I was
the first
so
time,
happy.
first time you've done a race like this,
Yeah.
a stage race like that. And also, I can sympathise with you having clients there as well. You know, you're on one hand, you must be motivated. You get up every day. You're in a real positive mindset. I mean, you're a very positive guy anyway. But having those around you, sometimes if one's not feeling too good, you want to give you a little bit of your time to them, maybe. Or if you know, people have got questions all the time, you're not just there for you, which is in your nature to not be, but even more so when you've got clients there with you. How did that affect you? Certainly in the evenings and the mornings, was it on your mind?
Do you know what though? I thought about this before and after, and I was reflecting on how I felt it went as a race. And I took a little notebook with me this time to write down some thoughts at the end of each day
Nice.
of just how the race went, or what I was feeling, or what I could improve on. And each day I was really happy with my performance, but what really, really sucked sort of more emotion out of me. I don't really get that emotional, but I was getting quite emotional at the guys finishing.
Yeah.
And that last day, it cut me up. My God.
Did it?
It's never happened before.
Oh, no.
I never had that. I was just so proud of
Got a bit
everyone.
of sand in your eyes.
There was. I had lucky I had my glasses on. But just to see how happy they were and how emotional they were, and just to be part of the whole journey from start to finish. I mean, not many coaches get to experience the whole race with their clients.
No.
I was right there in the thick of it. I saw the knee problems. I saw the toenails falling off, infections. One guy was on antibiotics because one of his blisters got infected.
Yeah.
I was there for all of it. And it just, it was more to be there for all of that. I say it was emotionally draining. That probably was. I felt tired, really tired yesterday, just when I was on my own and just sat in the quiet.
Yeah.
My body feels good, but my brain is tired.
Yeah, of course it is.
Do you know what? As an experience, I really enjoyed it. I think it'd be very, very different if I was there on my own.
Yeah.
It was really nice to have a full team of guys there. You know, the tent banter was there. Everyone was joking and laughing. Everyone had a good time.
Yeah.
Supporting each other, taking the piss out of each other. They had their own little battles. You know, when one person beat another person, they would just make fun of the other person for hours and hours and hours. It was just really, really good banter in the camps.
Yeah, and some incredible stories coming out of it as well, which we're sharing on the Inner Fight Endurance Instagram page. So go and check those out. People just like going into it wanting a life-changing experience and coming out of it with a real life-changing experience.
Well, some of these guys had never really run before until they did this.
No, and it's incredible. Mate, what you know, our guys were there. Any other sort of motivating factors for you? There was one lady who just walked the whole thing.
One lady walked the whole thing from start to finish. There was
incredible in itself. You think about the time on feet.
My God, yeah.
And the determination in her mind to do that.
We were all in bed on they took us to a place called Rock Camp on the long day. You know, I finished in 9 hours. Some of these guys were out for 18 hours.
Yeah. I mean, people think, oh, they walked it. Well, that's not so easy to do.
For a day.
Yeah. And then repeat it, you know.
So, like, you know, whereas we had all the recovery time, they were coming in tired, fatigued, not being able to carry as much food as they would have liked. They had to have a quick wash, if you like, with a wet wipe or whatever it is on that day, have their dinner, go to bed, get up again and do it all again in a couple of hours. So it's much harder for those. Full respect to those guys that did all of that. Who else is there? We had so many inspirational stories. There's a guy that was chatting to us on the last day. He you know, had terminal cancer. And he just lives in life in 6 month blocks at a time.
Whoa.
And he just does all these races all over the world just because it keeps him alive. He loves it. He loves meeting the new people. He loves just the freedom of just getting up and running and then going to sleep and running. And it, you know, it's just really, really motivating. There's a guy that had broken his back, that just learned to walk 3 months previously. Ultimately, he didn't finish, unfortunately, but he was just delighted to even have just attempted and been at the start line.
Yeah.
He said half the battle is showing up to the start line and the second half is finishing.
Yeah, mate.
Not many people make the plunge to even get to the start line. You know, it takes balls to sign up.
Takes balls to sign up, and then I think, you know, it does. Almost, if that is a challenge for you to get to the start line, you can almost say, okay, I've got here, I've achieved that goal. But then to keep on top of it for 5 days and get to the finish line, is another. Once you've gone through that emotion of getting to the start line, it's almost a come down, and people might think, okay, I've done this, you know, I've gone through what I've gone through to get here, but now you've got the actual
The race
part of the race to get to the finish
it's
line.
a whole different thing.
Yeah, it is, mate. Good. Well, it's really cool to get your thoughts on that, and obviously, you know, it was unbelievable coverage on the Ultra X Instagram account, but to actually hear it from an athlete side of you as well is really good.
Lovely race.
And I've no doubt we've inspired a boatload of people to get on board and sign up for an Ultra X race, which, if people who don't know, they're building a race calendar that ends in the Ultra World Championships. They're claiming it to be. They have 5 or 6 races multi-stage like this around the world now, and they're actually a much cheaper ultra race to enter, around £1,000.
Yeah.
Which might sound expensive, but it's cheap for an ultra.
They actually have as well. They've got a race in the Azores, which is coming up really soon, and that is, I think, 295.
Wow.
So day 1 is an 80k race, and then day 2, I think, is 40 kilometers. So you do a double marathon, then a marathon, and it's over a weekend. Anyone could do that. Well, I say anyone could do that.
Sounds like a holiday, man.
And it's cheap. That's cheap.
It is
very cheap.
Very cheap, and they're really good guys, and you know they're just building a brand that is you want to go and be part of, which I think is very, very cool.
There was 70. Just to add this on before we move on from this. There was 75 runners, I think, that started, and they had a team of 35 to 40 people.
Yay.
So we're looking at like almost a 2-to-1 ratio right there.
Yeah.
They had a full team of medics, a full team of osteopaths. So pretty much everyone had a full osteo session every day after their run. Got everything worked out. It's just it's mind blowing what they've set up. Very, very cool.
Unbelievable. I said to Marcus, he said, in a few years, mate, you'll be coming onto these, and I
Winning.
said, yeah, sounds like a good option. Maybe we need to make a 5-year plan or something to get involved in these and start having a nice holiday like you guys have.
It was not a holiday. We'll get some more people signed up to go then, and then you can come.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. That's enough about Ultra X. Jordan, let's move on to some of the topics for today's show. Mate, as you were away, I've sent you away to do some research on this, and you must have must be unbelievable looking at what's gone on while you were away. I mean, you were still in Jordan.
So much has happened. What the hell? Like
something was in the atmosphere this weekend.
World records are just falling,
mate.
Falling everywhere. We've had Kipchoge breaking the sub-2 marathon, which we'll move on to in a second, because I want to get your thoughts on that. We've had Brigid Kosgei breaking Paula Radcliffe's world record in the marathon in Chicago, that's been standing for 16 years.
Yeah,
16 years. I remember when she ran that record. I was young then. I think I was 20 years old when she ran that record. So that's been beaten by 81 seconds with 2:14.04 for the women's marathon.
Yeah, that's fast.
And what else has happened? Kona,
Kona happened, which we've been through, and that was a world record as well.
It's a world record as well. And
not done in the controversial Nike 4%, so I'd just like to add. It's done in the ASICS 4.5%.
Ah.
Which is very good marketing. So, 159, I chatted through it a little bit in the last show, just shared my thoughts on it. What's yours, mate? Tell us how you feel about it.
Well, this is what a question I want to put to you. So, obviously, for those, I think everybody knows, Kipchoge ran 1:59.40.
Yeah.
1:59.40. What did he run in 2017? Was it 2 minutes 20 something?
It's very, very, very close to 2 hours. But yeah, it wasn't sub 2 like
it wasn't sub 2. Okay, so he's gone away, he's done 2 years work, and he's come back. It's not a run of track this time. It was
he set a world record in those 2 years as well.
Yeah, well, he's done some work.
Yeah, he's done some.
But it was on, first of all, so the setting where it was down a street with trees lined either side. Listening to the coverage, they said that the trees provided more oxygen in the surrounding area. It cut out all the wind. He had his team of runners creating the diamond formation, the fan, in front and behind to block wind resistance. And they all were following the pacing car, which had the laser beams to tell them exactly where they should stand and exactly how fast they should going.
Yeah.
So, my question to you, Thomas, is that cheating? Because effectively what he's done is it's like a performance-enhancing scenario. So is it the same as taking a performance-enhancing drug?
Well, I firstly would like to say there's no difference in this setup that he's had this year than 2 years ago, except it's not around a racetrack.
Okay.
So you might even say he's done it on streets even and not around a really flat, smooth tarmac track.
Slightly harder.
So if it was a problem then, obviously people didn't bring it up enough in the last 2 years because we knew exactly what he was going to do. Mm-hmm. It's not a surprise that he had
No.
drafters and whatever. Here's my point. Firstly, I don't think it's anything like doping. If he'd gone out and ran a marathon, raced a marathon, and the person in front of him has ran at sub-2 pace for the whole thing,
Okay.
and 500 meters to go, Kipchoge pops out and gasses him at the end, and he does it. 1:59.40. Do we go, well, no, you didn't, mate. You drafted the whole way around, and then you popped out at the end.
Suppose not.
So there we go. That's my thought on it, is he still had to run. He still had to do all the training up to it. Yep, he's had a pace car. He's had people around him to help draft it, but there's no difference to having a pace bike in a race and having a pack of drafters with you in a race. They all use pacers in their marathons anyway.
That's very true, yeah.
So I don't see what people's problem is. Like, you should be celebrating the fact that we're alive at a time that a human can run a marathon in under 2 hours.
Okay. So would you say then, in a marathon you have pacers, but the pacers have to peel off after a certain distance, don't they?
They don't have to, mate. No. On the track stuff, on the World Champs, they would have indoors and things. But no, in a marathon, your pacer can run. You can win the race if he wants to.
You can win the race.
They're all entered.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So so you're fully happy with the validity then of the challenge? You wouldn't, if you were to question anything, or would you question anything yourself?
My only point would be, he's had a lot of funding for this.
Yeah.
But we know from the Nike project that he was picked out as being the one who could do it.
That was the idea in 2017. Well, even pre-2017, because they spent over a year building up to that. So he's given almost 4 years of his life to this project.
Yeah, and he was picked out of 3 other runners. One was the half marathon world record holder. One was a bit of an up-and-comer and had potential. And then Kipchoge was the legend that he was. And even then they said, he's the man who's going to do it. The other 2 attempted it, but obviously didn't. And so he was backed. Now, is there someone, another person in similar circumstances to him, sat in a room somewhere that maybe if you funded him for 5 years and gave him the chance, could he do the same thing with that funding, but without it he can't? Then from that sense of it's like, well, can anyone else do it? I don't know. But Kipchoge's been the chosen one, and he's the one who's gone and done it. So, yeah, I think it's definitely a fully valid record attempt. He's had all the support in the world behind him, but so do the guys who set the world hour record on a bike, and so do the guys, sending a man into space. Like,
they have the support's there. They're the guys that have to go and do the hard work, I suppose.
Yeah,
in the end.
And they've stated their intention from the start, and they've not hidden anything. They've been clear. Like, he's going to have paces. He's going to have a car. He's done this training. It's been filmed by Ineos, like really well documented. Yeah, it's fully valid in my eyes.
There we go. Let us know your thoughts on that, actually. We'd like to hear what the listeners have to say.
Yeah,
I would. If they have any questions, maybe we could answer any questions. If you've got anything you want to add to those points, maybe people could email in.
It's going to be questions about the shoes, I'm sure.
100% about the shoes.
4%
yeah, I was
about the shoes.
So I was reading about the shoes, actually. The shoes they've got, well, people have seen the pictures. They look bizarre, don't they?
They've got a carbon plate in the sole.
Carbon plate in the sole, and they've got a liquid as well. Liquid in the in like the air pocket, if you like.
Okay, yeah. It's all based around return off the floor.
Yeah.
And they're saying that shouldn't be allowed to be used. But again, they're open to the public. They're not a secret. So, yeah, I mean, well, I said earlier, filming the show with Marcus on Kona, if they make such a difference, go put those shoes on, stick your treadmill on just over 21 k's an hour.
And have a go.
Let me know how it
have
goes.
A crack. Yeah. Actually, we have a few guys that have run track in the Nike 4%.
Yeah, Vaporfly.
And they say they're very, very good.
In the moon boots.
I
don't like them.
Don't like? Why not?
No, every runner I see in them is having insane heel inversion and pretty much pick up lower leg injuries. They just look like they're wearing heels, and your whole foot is just collapsing in the whole time. I think you have to be so strong in the lower leg to actually utilize the return that they give. Because you remember, you're getting power back into your legs that you're not putting out.
Yeah.
So you're almost cheating the system in a sense. But if your legs aren't bomb-proof enough to take the return of power more than what it's giving out, then you're going to get injured with it.
What would you suggest to someone then who's maybe thinking about going and buying a pair of those shoes?
Well, on running, obviously.
I know, but you will. From this, there's going to be a huge surge of people that go into Nike and say, I want a pair of 4%. I want to be like Kipchoge. I want to run as fast as that. And injuries will go up. Or maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe not. But is there anything that you suggest if someone is going to go buy that pair of shoes and they don't know what's going to happen to their lower leg, or they don't feel they have the strength? Is there anything you would give them?
Shoe buying is so difficult and such a topic I'm always asked about. And the biggest thing is, okay, shoes will make a small difference to your running, but the biggest difference you can make is within your actual own mechanics itself. A pair of run shoes should just be able to support your running style. It shouldn't change your run style, which a lot of people search for, that magic shoe that's going to change their run style to make them a better runner. So I think you just got to try, mate. It's quite an expensive trial and error situation to be in, but
with those ones, yeah,
essentially,
for sure.
That's why one thing we love, on our sponsor of us here, but one thing we love about them is they come along to Track Tuesdays and give us a load of shoes to try and give to clients and members to actually try on and run in. And that makes such a big difference, because you can go and test ride a bike, you can go and test ride a car, whatever, test drive and stuff, and buy before you buy. In a running shop, you try the shoes on, you run on the treadmill for 5 minutes. Well, everything feels good for 5 minutes. It's later on, it's like half an hour in, 40 minutes in, you want to know whether that shoe is fitting you correctly or changing your gait style or causing muscle imbalances here or there. So yeah, that unfortunately it's a trial and error thing, but certainly the biggest change you can make is to your actual run mechanics, not relying on a shoe to change them for you.
Perfect.
Cool. Next up.
So Salazar. What do we have? So Salazar. So do you want to go into a bit about who is Salazar?
Yeah, he is a very famous coach who set up the Nike Oregon project and has coached the likes of Mo Farah, a few other world record holders, some longer distance track athletes, and some of the new marathoners now. So there's in Oregon in the US, there is a Nike headquarters, and he has a massive building on there called the Oregon Project. And he has, about 5 years ago, an investigation began around him and doping. And basically for 5 years, they've been working really, really hard to get their evidence together and question people, much like Steve Magnus, who wrote a very good book on running. The name of the book slips my mind, but it's really, really good. I have it at home. I refer to it often. He was one of his assistant coaches, and basically this past 5 years they've been working with him to gather evidence. The whole time this Salazar has been bad-mouthing him and trying to get out of everything, which he's done well in certain circumstances, but they've actually come to the point now, it's gone to court, and he's been found guilty of doping his athletes.
Yeah. And so as a result of this, just the last few days, Nike have released a statement saying that they're closing down the Nike Oregon project.
It's massive.
I actually have the statement here from the CEO, Mark Parker, and the Nike chairman. So it says, the situation, along with ongoing substantiated assertions, is a distraction for many of the athletes and is compromising their ability to focus on their training and competition needs. I've therefore made the decision to wind down the Oregon project.
Yeah, and what they've found is, mate, that a lot of the athletes who are on it may not actually have been aware that they've been doping.
Yeah.
So he did something where he was rubbing in testosterone cream into, it could have even been the Steve Magnus guy, his assistant coach, to find out how much caused a flag in the tests. So he wants to know, how much can I get away with of rubbing this testosterone cream into your muscles before you flag up and
then fail a test.
Yeah, flag up on a test. And I mean, that is just, yeah, I mean, as an athlete, you must then be thinking, like, holy crap, like, what?
It'll get you questioning everything you've done in the past few years. Were you clean? Were you not?
Yeah.
I suppose then the backlash of this is going to be that they're going to go back and they're going to look through, maybe even pull out blood tests from those athletes and test everything going back. And some really big, been really big records and really big successes from some of these guys.
Mo Farah, double Olympic 10K champ.
What else do we have? We've got a world silver medalist, 10,000 meters, 1500 meter Olympic champion, US record holder at 5K, fastest US female marathoner, 800 meter world title. There's loads of achievements there that might just all be now invalid.
Now invalid. And what can you say? Because as an athlete, you are 100% responsible for what you put into your body, whether it's coming, passively through a cream, what your physio's using, or whether you're taking it in and you're just eating food. Because as an athlete, like when you speak to your coach, it's kind of like some people want to know a bit more, some people want to buy in, but most of the time, if you're a driven athlete, you just say to them, write me the blueprint, tell me what I need to do, and I'll get it done.
There's a lot of trust in there, isn't there?
Huge amount of trust,
especially if you're working on a national level.
Huge amount of trust, and you sort of see it, for these athletes. I mean, they might just be saying, well, we had no idea about it, and they've just been put in the most awkward position possible by their coach. And it must be really, really difficult time for them. I put a thing on my Instagram around Mo Farah, said, who thinks he became Olympic champion clean? I said, was he clean like Lance, or was he I can't remember what I actually used now, but basically, because Lance Armstrong never tested positive for a drugs test, never failed a drugs test in his career.
That's right. I remember watching the interview he did with Oprah Winfrey whenever it all came out, and he actually admitted it first time, and it was just it was just incredible just watching him do it. It's like, wow. Yeah. And he's just telling the story. And now he's quite open about it.
He's very open about it, mate. Yeah, he's very open about it. And, it's kind of like the shoes we're talking about, the 4% and the drafting with the 159 challenge. Like, doping plays a big role in these athletes' recovery. But the point is, it's not making them actually run any faster at the time. It doesn't mean you can sleep in and miss sessions and still get better. You still have to train so hard. It just enhances your recovery.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So these guys are still working harder than any of the other athletes out there, obviously, but they're just recovering a lot more. And so, I put it on my poll, who thinks Mo's clean like Lance or not? And basically it was like, nah, we think he's not clean. Like it's and I agree. I got to say it. I know a lot of people love Mo Farah, and I'm one of them, and what he's done for running and things. But I'm sorry, if you look back at the evidence of who his coach was, how long he worked with Salazar, when it all came out, the fact that he left him then in 2017, don't be surprised if it comes out that he was maybe unknowingly, but had some level of doping going on. He's also admitted to an L-carnitine drip, which is not allowed. You're not allowed to put in something like more than 30 mils of this fluid into your body at a time, and he's hooked himself up to a drip and had in a huge amount. But again, that's apparently Salazar saying, no, it's allowed, I checked. He showed fake emails from the IAAF, or the World Anti-Doping Agency, saying that it's allowed. He's shown his athletes that and said, no, look, you're fine. And then they've gone, oh, okay, cool. They've gone and done the drip, and then now it's come out that it's not allowed.
Oh, dear. I remember watching, actually, Mo Farah did a really good documentary on the BBC a few years ago about his training and what he does and where he trains and where he goes and what he does at night time and all his routines, and just the work that he puts in to get to the level he's at.
Next level, mate.
It's insane. Sleeping in an altitude tent every night that he's got attached to his bed. It's just, it's crazy, crazy stuff.
It is. And if you're willing to go to that level, then you're willing to trust the best coach in the world.
Exactly.
With what else, you've got to do. So.
And if he said, oh, the drip's okay, you take the drip.
The drip's okay. Yeah. I mean, going in an altitude tent and sleeping there, and you never know, everyone knows altitude is a performance enhancing environment to be in, but he wouldn't have questioned it. You just go and do it. So it's like, we just hook you up to this drip and off you go, and you think, okay, wouldn't question it.
Well, nobody's as yet has actually tested positive for anything in any of Salazar's camps, including Mo Farah. So at the minute, we have to assume that everyone is clean.
Yeah, for sure.
And until it's told otherwise.
Hopefully
that's the case.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd like to think so.
I hope it doesn't come out. I just think don't be surprised if it does.
Yeah. There we go.
Lance Armstrong, that is ruining the professional sport world for us.
I'm sure he still has some good stories he could tell us about lots of people.
He does. He's a very good podcast, actually, mate. Lance Armstrong, the Forward, which is go and check out. But he openly admits it, and he's the number one person to say that, you know, what he did. But do you know what he still has? Is this unbelievable desire to be the best at what he does.
Yeah.
And even on his podcast show, it comes out how competitive he is, and it just makes you understand you can dope up as much as you want, unless you have
still got to do the hard work.
Exactly, mate. Yeah, exactly. Good. Not that we condone doping at all here.
Please don't. Just work hard.
Just work hard
and
stay
sleep.
out of trouble. Mate, that was show 3 done and dusted. Some good topics covered there. Next
Lovely.
one is a question show. So you guys, please send in your questions to either at Innerfight IF Endurance, at IF Endurance for our endurance account on Instagram. Rob Jones has changed his name secretly. It's Rob Jones Endurance.
That's it, Rob Jones Endurance.
On Instagram, I am Tom Walker Fitness. So if you're not on Instagram, you can also mail us endurance@innerfight.com.
tw@innerfight.com or rj@innerfight.com.
Yeah, so there's the way to get in touch with us, or if you're local, come in, see us.
We're approachable people.
Approachable. We like coffees. What else will we take in question bribes, mate? Mainly snacks. Most of those. Yeah, come along.
Nike 4%.
Come say hello. Nike 4%. If you're local, if you're in Dubai, you want to come run with us, Track Tuesdays on every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
6 till 7 a.m.
5:59 a.m. we start.
5:59 a.m. and we are down on the beach track at the moment.
Yeah, behind Sunset Mall, that is.
Sunset Beach behind Sunset Mall, 5:59 a.m. on Tuesdays. And that's on every week. So if you're ever in Dubai flying visits, sometimes people do just drop in and come say hello, and anyone can, and we absolutely would love to see you and meet you there. Rob, anything else for us?
No, I think that's it. Ready to go.
Ready to go. Excellent. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with show number 4 of the Run Strong podcast.
Send us your questions.